And we should be live. Buster the Destroyer. How you doing today? Thanks so much for coming and chatting with me here on the Late Night Crew Show.
Well, it's good. It's good to be here. How are you?
I feel good. I'm pretty happy with everything. I'm gonna be starting. My biggest thrill of the weekend is making pizza.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like my COVID thing, I guess. Have you made any sourdough in lieu of COVID?
Yes.
You have?
Well, not in COVID though. I've made sourdough before.
You know how everyone's making sourdough? Have you noticed that at all, or is that just me?
I've noticed. Yeah, people. I mean, people, of course, like especially earlier on. I feel like more people were doing that kind of thing. I don't feel like it's been going on at least here in Texas as much, but we just did like go back to we Texas made some changes today because it's not doing so well in that regard. So
So you don't get a bunch of people on your stream coming on and them talking about sourdough?
no, no,
Wow.
I
Jeez.
can't say I have. I mean, I've had a few people like tell me about like some kind of like COVID meals they made.
What are some COVID meals that people have made?
Like kind of being creative with stuff in the pantry or like the dry goods and things like that, just canned stuff. I can't think of anything like specific off the top of my head, but some of them have had some creative stuff like with ramen and things like that.
I haven't made ramen
Add,
before.
like using ramen noodles but adding like meat instead, like some decent meat they have, stuff like that, and like trying to kind of imitate like ramen that you like, fresh ramen that you get at like a ramen shop a little
Right.
bit.
Yeah. I hope to make some of that someday. I really enjoy ramen. I've always wanted to try it out. But I'm totally infatuated with this pizza nonsense right now. And there's a bunch of like YouTube uh series I'm watching on like the science behind pizza and what it takes to make pizza. Um
Oh, that sounds interesting.
it's so fascinating. Yeah. One
You're
big
like, I'm
thing.
so into it.
Oh, I'm so into it. It's ridiculous. I got a 50-pound bag of pizza flour that I ordered from Italy, and
Mm-hmm.
I've learned my
Ooh,
big the
fun.
oh
Like
t-
semolina flour.
uh it's called 00 flour.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's pizza flour, I guess. The internet says it's legit, so um this is my first week working with that. So I've been using whole wheat dough because of COVID. I haven't been able to get any normal flour. So yeah, it's exciting, man. So you did a cooking stream. How was your cooking stream?
That was really fun. We did what was it? We did some different Star Citizen foods, like during Alien Week. We did it during Alien Week,
Right, yeah.
and it was different Star Citizen foods and like kind of like the different aliens and stuff like that. My favorite thing that we did. Oh, thanks, Raven Queen. My favorite thing that I did that night was the fasa, which is a Banu dish mentioned in lore, actually. So I didn't place in the contest, but it was just fun to like stream making some alien food from Star Citizen. Enjoyed it a lot.
I think it's a big deal doing a cooking stream. Are you planning on doing another one soon?
Yeah, I'd like to get into the habit of doing a show like where food is cooked of some kind. Like, I the idea is like kind of the Stardust Supper Club where it's like sci-fi dishes. But so I would like to make some more stuff or try to make stuff, but at the same time, like it's a lot of work to kind of set that a whole thing up. So and I want to do it better. If I'm going to do it like on a regular, I want it to be like there's a computer downstairs that's specifically for that show, for streaming it and stuff. That way I don't have to haul stuff up and downstairs because that's kind of annoying. So yeah. Oh my goodness, I have to use this Star Wars book to fan myself with. It's very hot in Texas. It's very hot in Texas. I don't even technical journal.
Oh, yeah, you still own that book. Hey, that looks
It's
familiar.
too. It's not giving me enough wind though, so it's no good. It's no good. I'll just have to suffer.
So are you
My
gonna do
hand
it?
doesn't pay.
Are you gonna do another cooking show soon?
Um, I don't know. Like again, it's gonna take some time because it's just such a thing to haul everything downstairs. But I'm thinking like I might just start out with once a month. That way I
Mm-hmm.
have plenty of time in between and stuff. And then maybe get to a point where it's like every other week or something like that. I don't want to do it every week. I don't want to do it every week. But I definitely like if I had a better setup, I could do it every week if I wanted. Or maybe
Yeah.
the weekends or something. So
Did you notice a big change in your viewership at all, or like did you get many follows or subs out of it? Is it a personal
Um,
question?
No, like it wasn't. I did have like people that have come and watched me before that, like maybe don't watch me as often, come by and things like that. But I didn't feel like it grew my channel really to any any great degree. I mean, I got some bits here and there and things like that, but I didn't feel like it was like, oh, like everybody came and saw it, you know. But I did have a lot of views on the VOD. I think a lot of people ended up watching it later, like down the line. So that's nice to know. Like it's kind of, it was interesting enough that people like wanted to go watch it later if they missed the live broadcast.
When I was digging around, I saw that you really wanted to get into doing podcasts. That was like a passion of yours. Is it still a passion doing podcasts, or do you like the cooking streams more?
I like I don't know, like cuz I mean I've done shows. I'm so sorry, it's so hot in here.
Just the questions
I've done
asking.
like shows before, like, you know, obviously I've done podcasts cuz I used to host Night Crew and I've done all these others. And I like doing podcasts, but and I like doing the cooking, but I can't say like one's intrinsically better than the other. They're just different and there's a different experience for me. I can't like, but I mean, I enjoy both. I don't know. Like, I like podcasts because it's not like as much work maybe as the cooking stream is, but the cooking stream is like I get an excuse to just eat on camera, and it's great.
What was the hardest part? Because I want to do a cooking stream. What's the hardest? What's your advice you could give me?
Oh, with cooking,
Yeah, doing the cooking stream. Like looking back now, what could I do?
like with what though? Like, are you asking me like a cooking tip for yourself? Like, what application are you
If
looking
I
for
want to
here?
do a cooking stream on my Twitch
Okay,
stream,
okay, you
yeah,
want to do a cooking
maybe
stream. I'm sorry.
pizza, maybe stir
Um,
fry.
I guess the best thing is, I guess the best piece of advice I could give you is have a good mic setup for like, you know, figure out what you're going to do for your mic, because you know you can do a boom mic so that they kind of can hear the whole room, but like I think you want to make sure that they can hear like the sizzle and the crackle of like the pan.
Hmm. Hmm.
People like those sounds. People
Yeah,
like those
it
sounds when
makes
they watch
sense.
cooking shows, and so I think that helps. And I think also like when you're eating the food or when you're doing stuff, you just try to like be include everybody in the process, because like one of the things was is like the sauce that I made to go with the fasa ended up coming from somebody in chat. Like one of my moderators suggested like make a coconut cream sauce for that. And so, because I was like, I don't know what we're gonna do about sauce, but we should have a sauce so it looks pretty, so it has something on the plate with it other than just fried pieces of shrimp. And so yeah, they came up, he came up with the cream sauce. It was really good. It ended up being like, it complemented it really well. So I think maybe having little things like that. I mean, I'm not a professional or by any means or somebody who does a lot. Obviously I've only done the one cooking stream, but I think that's probably an important part of them, is like kind of letting chat once in a while have like some say, or like, oh, like they give you an idea and you run with it, that kind of thing. Like kind of be a little interactive with what you're making too,
And
if that makes sense.
if you think about it, I mean, they know more than us. It's like in playing Star Citizen.
Collectively, yeah.
Yeah, collectively, I'm a like because I play on stream and they tell me how to play the game. I'm therefore a better player. But like that would apply to cooking as well. So like,
Yeah.
but at that
But
point, you're just an actor on a screen. You're like,
but that's my thing too, is like, and this, and you, it's funny that you say that, because that's something I have like sometimes I struggle with in
yeah.
general with like Star Citizen at least, is sometimes people like, I feel like people come into my chat and are telling me how to play Star Citizen, and it's like, dude, I've been a backer for 4 years.
I think that's the
Like,
hardest thing as a streamer is to tolerate that.
yeah, it's like one of those things, like I don't mind people kind of like having suggestions, be like, oh, maybe go that way or go, you know, that kind of thing, or oh, did you try this? Like that's fine if they want to like ask me if I tried something or when I'm having an issue. But it's like when they're telling me just how to like do like the basics of the game, like the you know, like, oh well, hold F, you know, or if I am confused, like if I'm confused about something and I'm like, oh my god, what's happening, how do I fix this, then obviously I want them to tell me. But I don't know, it's weird because it's like sometimes I'm like, yes, I know the W key goes forward. Okay, it's okay, I know
Sometimes
how to
it's
play the
questionable
Star
though.
Citizens. I know how to play the Star Citizens.
I think that's my biggest fear with doing a cooking stream is having to tolerate that because it's so like everyone has their own opinion when it comes to cooking. It's like a pizza sauce. Like everyone has their own way of making a pizza
Yeah,
sauce, you know?
But that's kind of the great thing about things like pizza sauce is like everybody kind of has a different taste and a different like palate for things. And so maybe that's why Star Citizen is. Everybody just has a different palate.
I want to believe that, but there's meta, right? That's the
Right,
problem.
yeah.
I don't know. Well,
But yeah,
I'm
it
really
is what it
shocked.
is.
I'm really shocked to hear that you haven't made any sourdough during the COVID. I thought everyone did. So,
I made banana bread. I
oh,
was one of the
that's
banana
good.
breaders,
Yeah, that sounds
I
good.
did banana bread. And that was good. Like I enjoyed that a lot. Um and of course I've made like just stuff, I love anchovies, and so like one of
Mm,
the things I'll do is I'll make like a pasta sauce or something with a little bit of anchovies in it, because those are really good like for starting, like kind of being the base of a flavor in a sauce, especially like heavier sauces like that, really savory sauces
totally.
or salty sauces, I mean.
I'm gonna try not cooking my sauce. I'm just trying to use tomatoes and make tomatoes taste good. That's what I'm working on right
Wait,
now.
when you're making pizza?
Yeah, because it's each different
Yeah,
part.
there's pizzas where they really don't cook the sauce. It's
Yeah,
really basic, and that's fine. Like that's actually, I like a pizza like that too, because it's gonna go in the oven or whatever it's gonna do. Yeah, like sometimes it's nice. It's kind of almost like fresh taste, like it's more fresh in a way because it's like not so full of spices and other things. When it's just basically sauce, like just tomato pureed.
artificial flavoring.
Yeah. Sometimes it's really good. I mean, I always have to put salt in it, like especially if it's like fresh or something, like always put salt in it because that's what you should do. But yeah, I can appreciate that. I can appreciate like a really like bare bones basic kind of sauce and like set up for a pizza.
Keep it
It's kind of
simple.
like sometimes simple things are really good, you know? So I can appreciate that.
So outside of the cooking stream, how about the Klingon makeup? Because you've been doing that a couple times now. So like, how's that been?
Yeah, Klingon Citizen. We do it on Thursdays. I'm thinking about pulling it back even a little bit because it can be pretty it can be really demanding
Mm-hmm.
in a weird, if that makes sense, to do the Klingon makeup. I did it really well this week. I was really proud of it this week, but it's like some weeks I'm like, like I was too rushed, or like I was just not like, I just was off on something. I mean, I enjoy doing it, but it's kind of, it's a lot of makeup, and it's just like you just feel it on your face after like in a couple like an hour or two. It's like, okay, I'm really feeling my makeup now. So it does what it does, but I enjoy it, and it's really good. It's a really fun time. I try to sort of role play a Klingon character. It's kind of weird because I did play one that the whole me doing the Klingon makeup thing on a regular started because of Star Trek Vasquez, which was we did um, Star Trek Adventures RPG on Astropub stream for like a season of that. That will come back till next year. Like we'll do season 2 of that next year at the beginning of the year. But it's just I was doing the makeup regularly and I got really good at it. But I had really crappy supply, not crappy, but I was using eyeshadow in the beginning, and then I finally got like a specific like MAC palette that's like kind of a body paint, and it really improved things a lot. But at the same time, it's just even then it's still like I'm using a lot of makeup and I'm using a lot of my supplies that like, and that's not so much the issue, is just the labor that it can take to do it. But it's fun, and I try to do the character, but it's weird to do the character because I do the Star Trek character already, and so I'm trying to like keep them separated. Like I don't want to play Baj from Star Trek Vasquez. I want to be like Buster, House Destroyer, like that kind of thing. And so it's like, okay, I have two Klingons I'm trying to sort of pull off here, and it's hard to not. I don't know. It's difficult. I'm not much of a like an in person type of role player, I guess. I think
Well,
I think when I have like two Klingon characters, I'm kind of like I don't know what to do. But it has its good moments and it has its like difficult moments. But it's still really fun. It's fun. It's a creative outlet to do the makeup and stuff. So
I want to dig into this a little more. Do you mind if I dig into this a little more?
yeah.
Because I'm kind of fascinated by this, and because I was looking in your background a little bit, and I know that you're into theater and you're into acting, right?
No, actually, I was never an actor as much in theater. I was like a lighting designer.
Okay, okay. We're in
Lighting
theater then.
designer, scenic carpenter. Um, What else? I mean, I was good at acting when I like focused on it, but I just was not. I never took it too seriously. That
Hmm.
was the problem. I'd be like reading some really like I've been in acting class and I'd read some really like dramatic like diet like monologue or something, and I'd somehow make it like just it just sound it just, every time that like they were either like this was a great idea or they'd be like this was terrible. Why would you do this to the scene? So
You ever thought
I
about
guess
doing a Klingon monologue before?
there are some good ones out there. I never thought about adding that into something. I mean, I sing a Klingon song. I know a song in Klingon.
That's pretty cool. I had no idea there were Klingon songs.
Oh God, yeah. Like the Klingons, that's like one of their things. Is they're always singing songs when they're going into battle and stuff. And so I learned one that's like in Klingon. It's a pretty common one that I think it's been sung in several of the shows over the years.
Well then, I had no
You want me to
idea.
sing it? Is
No,
that what you're saying?
I mean, if you
Oh,
want to, you can. I mean, it's all up to you. But well, I think a monologue is kind of a cool thing. I'm looking at doing a monologue as well, as corny as that might sound, into my stream. And I'm like, how do you actually do that without being really cheesy? You know?
I think the key to it, and this is something they would teach you in acting, is like just try to be like honest when you're reading it, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Like there's some people, hey Fire. There's some people who will like sit there and they will when they're acting or something, like they'll try to there's people that do like method or they do this, or they do that, blah, 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 blah. I have to admit, like just reading the material and like if in this case you would want to memorize it so you can like look at your camera and say it because that's that way it's like even more convincing that you like this is something you're actually saying. But I don't know, just be honest when you read don't think about it too much, just kind of let what flows and like the point of somebody like a director is they're supposed to say, hey, do it again, but could you put a little more of this into it or that into it, and that's it. Like you try to like sort of shift the perspective. That's kind of the way I try to think about it. You shift the perspective, like, oh, they want me to be like more fun with it, so I'll shift the character, like I'll try to think from the character's perspective of like they're in that fun, like a more fun mood when they're saying it, that sort of thing. I think it's kind of having empathy and understanding how to utilize empathy in that context.
Yeah, I think so. We are performers on Twitch, are we not?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I never think about it like performing, but yeah, I guess you're absolutely right.
Well, I mean, your makeup. You go through all that work for your makeup. You gotta like. It has to be a performance.
Yeah, the makeup. For me, like most of the time, makeup's more about like, okay, it looks good on camera. Like even today, like I usually put on a lot of powder, but today I wanted shine on my face because that's something you normally don't want on camera. But today I wanted some shine on my face and things like that. So I didn't do as much. I didn't do nearly as much powder, and I like used like a lot of highlight like on my cheekbones. And it's just like sometimes you just want to look like something, and then other times you just want to correct any like any like mistake, like not mistakes, but just little things that like, oh, your skin tone being even or something. Like if you have really rosy cheeks, you might want them a little like toned down, etc. So I mean it's performative. I don't know. I think of like makeup, especially like in just everyday use on stream, as like it's sort of like a camera tool,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. And then
Okay.
like, but like makeup like this is like me trying to kind of do a more artistic makeup. So for me, I guess maybe it's more performative of a makeup, like it's more dramatic for certain. But I would say this is like if I was gonna do like I would go out like this every day. This is the kind of stuff I like to do. This is like the personal, like this is my makeup, the way I like to have it. It's just that when you go out in public, like this is a little bit wild for most people, unless you're going to some party. Like some people like she wears too much makeup, and it's like, well, I mean, it's just a form of creativity. It's a form of art. It's an art form in some cases. So
I think it definitely is.
makeup kind of goes from being, like I said, like sort of a tool to like being just a full blown art form. So it has a wide range of application.
Well, I think your makeup stream, the Klingon Citizens, awesome. It's really
Thank you.
thrilling, and yeah, keep me in the loop about what happens with that. And
Yeah, I think maybe we'll just do it a little less, but
yeah,
who knows? I might just keep with it. It's fine. It's like I said, it can be a lot of makeup to wear sometimes.
oh, 100%, so much work. Like I
Especially this time of year. I think that's probably why I'm like maybe I should pull back. Probably because it's getting hot.
yeah,
And I'm not
that's
thinking about that.
understandable.
Speaking of, ugh, why did I wear a feather boa today? I'm gonna
Well,
have to take it off in a minute.
maybe that can be. Don't need to do the makeup anymore. Just wear the feather boa. As long as you got something, you know.
Even days I'm like, I don't want to put any makeup on. I still put on like at least like some powder or something. Like just something. Oh my goodness.
So I said to you this morning that I wanted to spice it up, have a little spice.
Oh,
The spice must
well,
roll. You want to do
here
some
we go.
spice? What's your opinion about the Twitch blackout?
Oh yeah, okay. I am taking my feather boa off for this. We're getting we're
She's
taking
spicy.
we're at least gonna loosen it up. That's a little better. That's we're gonna. You know what? She needs her hair back. She's just hot, guys. She's super hot in more
Yeah.
ways than one. I can't even hear you right now, Segellion. I'm so sorry.
I'm not saying anything. Don't worry.
But yeah. So the Twitch blackout. I partook in the Twitch blackout actually.
Yep. Me too.
I it's been a very interesting time for content creators with everything that's been going on. Um, and it's really awful. Like, I don't mean interesting, like, oh, that's intriguing, but like, it's really interesting right now because there's like a lot, like, because really this kind of happened last summer too. If you remember, there was kind of like a Me Too movement in the streaming and gaming community like
I
last
didn't know
summer
about that.
briefly.
No.
Yeah, if you look like go look up some articles about like harassment gaming Twitch and like look for stuff from 2019 because this happened last summer but on a much smaller scale. People weren't as like not necessarily not supportive, but people weren't like they are in the mass droves right now. Like people are really calling it out for what it is, and people are like really frustrated and angry and upset, and I don't blame them at all. But I think that like, and I want to say like real quick, I've said this on my own channel before, but like I've not had these experiences in the gaming industry. That doesn't mean they're not happening. I've just not been in it. I don't think I've been in it long enough, and I don't have enough clout in the industry to have like gotten into like these situations. I don't know how to even describe it. I haven't been in these situations, but that doesn't mean they're not happening. Um, and
Are you
I'm really
sure?
supportive of these women and men that are coming forward. But I really hope that I really hope there is truly like people really step up to help like change like that kind of stuff from like keep things like that from happening to people. It's really messed up how that happens.
It's
No.
complicated. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. It's very complicated.
but
100%.
here's the like. There's just so many problems with it. But I have to just say that there's so much harassment out there, and you've experienced that. You get a lot of harassment on Twitch, and if you don't agree to that, then you don't see it. But I see it when I'm in your Twitch channel. I see people say horrible things. And what do you do about that stuff?
Um I think okay, and this is like I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. Um there's like this thing about being a woman. It's just like there's things about being a man that there aren't really like out there and like everybody knows, you know what I mean? It's just kind of these unsaid things that you sort of are like taught. And I guess like I think this is true of a lot of women, at least in the United States. It's like we're kind of taught like to sort of like not make people upset, and we really want people to think good of us, and we don't want to like we don't want to like we don't want to rock the boat, so to speak, in social situations. We don't want somebody to, I mean, not every, it's not true of everyone, but I feel like there's like this sort of like we're sort of taught to be like people pleasers and keep everybody happy, especially like I don't know, my mom was always like a really good host at party, like she loved to host like a good party. And so I think like there's this bit of me like when I'm around, like even when I'm not around my mom, like if I'm in a social situation where it's a party, like one of the things I'll start doing is like I'll clean up around everybody, even if it's not my party. I'm just like, oh, I'm just trying to be nice. And then some people get mad at me because they're like, that like, don't do that, like just enjoy the party. Or other people think it's like a rude of me because like they think I think they're dirty and they're not cleaning their own house or something. And it's like, no, I'm just trying to be helpful. Like, and so I don't know, like it's like in a social sense, it's kind of like that, if that makes sense. Like you're sort of taught like to not break the eggs. And I think like sometimes even like things that at least you or say are like horrible things that people said in my chat, like I feel like I just kind of like fly away, little like bad thing, unless it's like very obvious, like okay, this person needs to be banned like immediately. But yeah, women just never we have a hard time rocking the boat, and even when like it's a situation we're in control of, I think sometimes like because we want people to get along with us and we want people to like and also like you also don't want like some dude to get mad and like start being like weirdo to you because he got mad at you that one time. I think that's also like a subconscious level thing. I don't know. It's hard to describe. It really is. It's just something you go through. Yeah, you don't want guys to get weird and hostile. Yeah, Lady Star Lord. It's like, yes, thank you. That's exactly the words I was looking for. You don't want somebody to get weird and hostile on you. So I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty. I don't feel like I have a lot of people saying horrible things in my chat, but it's interesting that you feel like you saw that in my chat
100%.
before.
100%. And like I'll be in people's Discord channels, and the things that like males will say to females in like org Discord channels is crazy. I don't even
Really?
understand it. And people don't, it's like they don't even hear it. And I'm like, this guy is like blatantly harassing this woman right now, and it's like falling on deaf ears.
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting because it's really making me think like, and I guess like I don't know, maybe like I'm not thinking like me personally, like I'm not realizing these things that people are saying to me are awful because I'm so used to being them being said to me that
That's what
it
I
just
think.
doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, wow, Segellion, this is you kind of made me go like,
Well, like the thing is
whoa,
how do you fix that? And like like right now, I feel like there's nothing stopping that. And
yeah,
then eventually these people, they get more power and accumulate more wealth and become super powerful Twitch streamers, and then that's who we have right now in this controversy. But how do we stop it?
yeah.
How do we regulate it?
Well, I think Lady Store Lordess in chat has a really good suggestion, which would men speak up against other men like for that kind of behavior. Like I think it's like, and this is something, and this is like not obviously like what's going on is not just like a problem with this industry. It's like a whole freaking societal problem.
100%.
It's in every
Yeah.
industry. It's in
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Anywhere where women are existing in any capacity, this is somehow happening. And I think part of the problem is like I think what like yeah, people have to like guys like I don't know how many times in my life like I've heard guys like say like jokes about like the where women end up being like the butt of the joke. And like you laugh it off because like you'll throw a joke at them too about like guys, but they like, oh my god, I've had more problems with like kind of making a joke about like men or something than I've ever had making like hearing jokes about like hearing people say jokes about women. Like if it makes sense, like or whatever.
Yeah, I hear what
um
you're saying.
I'm just like scrambled right now thinking about all this because it's like this societal issue, and until we like start, I mean, I don't think there's anything like because like everybody was like, what about comedy, what about things that are funny, and I'm like, well, okay, like things can be funny without making like putting somebody else down to make yourself feel better. Like why is it like there's this thing that was going on Reddit for a long time, and I think it still goes on once in a while. It's like these memes like where it's like like girls are doing something and it's really awful and it like whatever, and then it'll be like boys and then what they're up to, and it's somehow like it's always kind of framed in this like girls are vapid and are concerned with kind of vanity and all this other stuff, whereas like boys are doing something random and quirky and that makes them thus like more fun than girls or more interesting. And it's like I just don't understand like how people could have that, like why do we have to like I know it's like just a meme, but like why does something have to like put girls down to lift boys up?
Just easier. That's all.
you know like why do things have to, and then you get in this all this, there's so many topics we could talk about like a lot about because there's a lot of systemic like societal issues that have to be, and it's a lot of it's like the way people think, and it's not so much
100%.
that
Yeah.
you have to like and I don't know, people have like you can't be accused of a thought crime or anything, you can think what you think, but like I think it's the way people like there's some of the ways that people think. That's the kind of the issue. They need to kind of learn that, like, women aren't this, or men aren't just this, or these people aren't that, or this group's not like that. Like, it's if people would just sort of like let everybody just like kind of assume everybody's kind of bland no matter their gender, then I think we would have a lot less issues.
That's true.
Because then when somebody like kind of like somebody has an interesting hobby or an interest, it's like, oh, I don't know. And I also just think like there's this weird like thing that happens with where like feminine things are looked down on, because even like every girl will tell you like they went through that phase where they were like not like the other girls, and she was like a tomboy. She like really liked stuff that guys liked, and she had like a lot of male friends, and she liked being friends with girls at the time because girls were like so much drama, that kind of thing. Like, they're like most girls have gone through that phase because they've been taught their whole life that like feminine things aren't nearly as great as masculine things. Like, think about like movies and media, how like a really girly character is usually like a villain, or she's just like this really vapid like useless person, whereas like a guy who's like really like outdoorsy and does like real manly stuff, like he always ends up being a really useful, interesting person. So it's like subtle, but it's there. And there's nothing wrong with feminine things.
I agree.
So, and I think that, like, I don't know, we got off to like a way off place, but I guess what I'm trying to come around to is like, we were talking about the chat stuff and people like being like this on Twitch and talking to women like this. And it's because we like have allowed it to happen for all this time, and we're finally getting to a point where people try to call out these behaviors, and then there's this like really extreme side of the pushback sometimes, like in the form of incels and other people like of those natures. Like, and I don't know. I don't know what the solution is, but I do know that like Twitch needs to do a better job of holding people accountable, which they've been stepping up to. They've permabanned some of these streamers. And, you know, I also think that if you ban somebody from your channel, they should not be able to continue to watch your channel and just not be in chat. They need to just not be able to see your channel.
Like an
And,
IP address
IP
ban.
bans if
Yeah.
necessary on a, because, some people will just make another account. So, like, do IP bans and everything.
Mm.
I mean, those are my suggestions. I'm not saying they're like the things that are going to solve any problems, but those are like some steps that Twitch can take. And then, of course, as a society, we got to take a lot of steps,
That's
but
true.
it's going to take a while.
Yeah. I guess it.
People are slow to change.
I mean, I guess it's a good thing that yeah, Twitch is responding to it as they are. I mean, it was originally kind of hairy, but everyone seems to agree that this nonsense shouldn't stand. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, there's a really strong push. I've noticed among like guys, like there's been a lot of guys talking about it and saying this is unacceptable, or I've been in these situations where I've had to help like female colleagues, or and all this stuff. Like, there's a lot of guys out there like really boosting the signal and being like, this ain't cool, guys. Like, we gotta stop. But on the other hand, like, and I don't, I've seen some guys like say stuff like, hey, like, especially when it first started happening, there were so many guys like tweeting about like, hey, if we're ever at like we're ever doing something, or we're somewhere, and or know that I'm like I'm an anchor, I'm a safe person you can come up to at an event, like guy like a lot of mostly men and some women like saying, hey, like, come see me if you need help, if I'm near you and like, and you need help, like, come up to me and I will help you. But like, that doesn't like, and I guess the problem, I don't have a problem with saying that. I think it's good that people are kind of talking about that, but at the same time, like, that's what the default is supposed to be. Like, if anybody ever comes up to you and something's bad's going on, or they're feeling super uncomfortable in a social situation, and that obviously it's more than just a social, like, it's something like that, like sexual harassment, like, it should be your default to help that person. It's I don't, I mean, and I'm not saying like those people. I guess what I'm trying to say is it's good they're saying it, but at the same time, like, just, that doesn't, like, everybody should be doing that for each other. It shouldn't just be like people standing up and say, well, I'm cool. Like, everybody should be cool, you know what I mean?
I'm gonna be more mindful about it in the future now. Like this whole Discord nonsense. When I'm on a Discord and I hear this, I'm definitely gonna be more mindful and probably speak up about that. I think the issue was the past, and I was afraid I was hallucinating the whole thing. I was like, am I actually seeing what's happening right now? But be more careful in the future. So
Yeah, I mean, there's a tolerance. Everybody has a different tolerance. Like I definitely will
that's
have
true.
people come around and say like, "Oh, you look really hot tonight, Buster. You're really pretty."
See,
And that
that's
doesn't
not.
bother me. Like whatever.
Yeah. Okay. You know,
But
it could be
but at
cultural.
the same time, like if like that like I don't know. I guess like for me, if somebody wants to compliment me, that's fine. But trying to like continue doing it does get kind of weird. I don't know. It's hard because I think there's a lot of people on the internet that like because of the internet, like there's sort of like people who don't have the best social skills, like can like they can get on like along in social circles without having to have them. And maybe sometimes it's actually just like a lack of social skill when somebody's saying something, but at the same time, I think more often than not, like people are saying it because like I don't know, dude. I'm like I'm flustered by the whole situation because I've had horrible things happen to me in my life, not in this like in gaming, but just in general, like with people and men and things like that. And so I just it's hard to like understand like how to speak about it eloquently sometimes
Yep.
because
No.
it makes you so angry. And I'm at that point where I'm like, I kind of want to move on the subject because I know if I just keep focusing on it, I'm just going to get really upset.
Okay. All right. Well, we can move on then if that's the case. I did want to. Well, I kind of wanted to segue into the female model in Star Citizen just really quickly. Has there been any changes in the past 6 months to the female model or improvements or anything like that that you're
Um,
aware of?
the female model, I feel like she's been pretty much the same the whole time.
Okay.
There's been a couple bugs where you can't like be the female model. Like it's making you like be a male and things like that, but that's been bugs. But I don't know. I feel like I've always liked the female model because one of the things I most appreciated about her is the fact that she can walk and like walk like a woman and not just
Right.
be like a male actor like getting mocapped and then applying that skeleton to everybody. That was always my favorite thing about her is they really took the time to make her truly like a woman
I
and not
remember when they
just
originally talked about that when they introduced the female model and they're talking about gait. I think that's how that's described.
yeah,
And
gate. Yes, GAIT gate.
we're always like, do we really need this? But
Yes.
apparently, it's a long. Yeah, it
Some
really.
people some people like they might think, well, that's like a frivolous detail, but is
Yeah.
my sex frivolous for existing?
No,
Like,
absolutely
can't
not.
we fucking sorry. It's just like, can we please exist like in as like even in video games in like our whole selves? Not to exclude people that aren't like biologically women, but are women, like that kind of thing, like trans women. I'm not trying to exclude them in any way, but you know what I mean. Like, it's nice to finally have something like make you like, oh, like that's how I walk, or that's how I would like to walk without this big old booty. So stuff like that.
Yeah, talking about the fashion in Star Citizen. Are you still doing the fashion show? Am I still signed up for
One
that?
of these days, one of these days, I was actually just talking about the few last night in a conversation with some friends, and we were talking about how the few, because it was the few we were supposed to do this with originally, and how like the few is so much fun, but like he can be like one of those types of people like he can get like real distracted real
Oh
easy,
my
and so
god, I've never seen a
he and I
human like him
he and I've just
before.
never nailed down like a real time and way to do that.
Get her nailed. Get her figured out. I want to sign up. I want to be the first one. I don't need to be the first one. I just want to sign up. That's all.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I can't wait to do it. And honestly, like because the fashion that's like been coming into game more and more, like it seems like we get like a decent drop of like new clothes at least once a year, but throughout the year we're getting like subscriber stuff and things like that. But I don't know. I really love CIG, but I really hope that they don't do it a lot. And this kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, like feminine bad, masculine good. And I really hope that they don't fall into the trap of like not like being like, oh well, we want to like everything to be like super um like utilitarian, or we want everything to be like super unisex, because I really hope, which they did with the Ivers, right? The Ivers shoes, because those, like, on a man they have a little bit of heel, but they're different shaped, and then on a woman they're like a higher heel. So that was nice, but I hope that they just don't fall into that thing where, like, they won't have like dresses or really feminine clothes because like they want to like avoid some kind of conflict, some kind of like you know what, like culture conflict, like culture wars, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But I really hope that they do like include more and more feminine, because like that high heel really like made me super happy at the time, because I was like I even have a clip of it on my Twitch stream where I'm just like, is that a high heel shoe? Is that a high heel shoe? Like I was so excited. I was so excited.
Has it? Do you think it's been a slower year for fashion in Star Citizen this year?
Mm, well, let's think about like the years past, okay? Because for the female model, that's a totally different question than the male model.
Let's just
Um,
make it generic. Try and get some trends here.
well, yeah, because like the male model, as we all know, like has a lot of options from a lot of different places, whereas the female model has a very limited amount of options from at least the past assets before she was included in the game. So if you're going from that perspective, like it's actually this past year's been pretty good, because we got some pant when we got the different truck stops. We actually got different kasabas with different colors of pants. Like you could get like purple pants, pink pants, things like that,
Okay.
violet pants, all that, teal, white, black, and then you got to a point where I'm trying to think of the words. And then you got more stuff like when Microtech came in, the
Right,
Microtech
microtech.
collection. ArtCorp though sadly didn't really add anything new, at least to the female model that I'm aware of. Well, I guess they did add the different colors of the Lilo pants, but like they add, like I think ArtCorp was the only place you could buy like white ones for a while, things like that, and white gloves. And so they kind of, I don't know. I think it's been a good year, and I look forward to there being even better years for fashion Star Citizen.
I find they sneak a lot of stuff in. It's like you'll just be on a new patch, be like, wait, is there like twice the amount of clothing there was before? I always find myself in that
Yeah, they
situation.
do that sometimes. They will sneak like little things like that in. Like, oh, like look, there's purple pants now, or there's like violet pants, or there's this. Oh, it's so hot.
You want some more spice? I got some spice written down here.
Oh,
More
oh,
spice.
what's next?
Night crew.
I like
Talk to me about the night crew. What is the night crew? Who is the
the
night
night
crew?
crew.
Yeah.
The night crew is Star Citizen streamers in a crew together, and we like I said, we're all like people who play Star Citizen or streamers. We tend to we it's hard to describe because everybody's so different, you know what I mean? And I think that's kind of one of the great strengths of it, is everybody's kind of got their own thing going on. So yeah, Night Cruise, the Star Citizen stream team. We do a weekly show. Well, I guess now it's actually once every other week, which was NC on SC, and of course you produce this show weekly on Fridays, and then who else?
Penguin does the mayhem on
Yeah.
Tuesdays. Isn't it Tuesdays?
Well, actually, Mayhem's kind of right now. Like, I mean, Mayhem for now is canceled.
You doing the NC on SC on NC. That was the biggest thing for Night Crew. And honestly, I'm so glad that you did it. I thought you did an excellent job.
Oh, thank you. I had a lot of fun doing it. It just got to a point where I just was like,
I've,
I have I have put so much into this, and I like it. Basically, I felt like I took it as far as I could take it, and it took me as far as it could take me, if that makes sense. And so it was like time to kind of let other people try their hand at it.
it's a long
I think it's a
time to
good
do
growing
something like
opportunity for a
that.
streamer.
Do you found you grew from it? You learned something. You came away from that.
Yeah, I think I did learn some stuff. I mean, I couldn't tell you specifically what I learned like off the cuff like this, but I think that I think that there was something that came of it, and it was like I really had a routine down. I really had a routine. It got me like, I mean, I would always like watch this show and that show and do this and that and read this and that like on X days at X times. Like it kind of had its own routine to it, because I like to try to keep up with stuff. But I also didn't like to over keep up. Like I didn't want to know every little thing about Star Citizen. at any given moment, because that's one of my favorite things about the night crew is everybody kind of like there's different people that have different like interests, so they'll know more about that subject when it comes to the game's development or how it works in the game or whatever. And so i I learned like it would be overwhelming to have to like learn like read every little thing and do every little thing about stuff, like watch every video by x YouTuber or whatever, because it gets to a point where you're just like all you're doing all week is like just breathing in, like you're sucking in Star Citizen content and you're breathing it back out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
And
do.
you just get to a point where you're like, oh my god, I just want to I just want to, I don't know, I just want to watch like Step Brothers or something. I want to do like something stupid, like and fun.
Well, I remember when we started doing it, like I had to have notes before we go on. You know, like we had to watch all these shows. We had to have like discussions. We had our Trello board,
Well, that was
right?
me. Like I would be like, guys, watch the freaking show.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That, but it was a requirement of the show. I mean, I don't know. I want to say Penguins started that though. Like, yes, you enforced it, but God, Penguins was just always like, do this, do this, do this. I don't know. But it is what it is because of you guys. So whatever.
Well, and different hosts have different things. Like, I was the same. Like, I wanted people to be aware of it because it's like, ISC is easy to watch. It's 10 to 15 minute long show. I would never ask you guys, like that was one of my big things. I was like, don't feel like you have to watch the full hour of whatever the most inside like recent Star Citizen Live was, because I'm the kind of person, I only like to watch Star Citizen Live like actually live. I like being able to have the interaction with everybody in chat that's there and see what people are saying. And so yeah, I definitely like prefer watching that live. So I mean I missed it a lot because it was always on at different times. Sometimes it'd be on at noon, other times it'd be on at like really early in the morning, like 9, other days it'd be on at like 3 o'clock. It just bounces around at each Friday.
I remember when ATVs used to be like an hour long, and I used to have to take notes before we'd go on the night crew, and then, we'd go and talk about it. But like they were an
Yeah,
hour long. Remember that?
yeah.
Many years
I didn't
ago.
really watch ATV much actually back in the day. Like it was really, I didn't get super into the like because that was about like I had probably, I think when I started hosting, um what do you call it, like when I started hosting Night Crew, it was just a few months before they changed it over to Inside Star Citizen and Star Citizen
Oh,
Live.
I see. Gotcha.
And so yeah, I was used to like, okay, the hour stream and the 10 to 15 minute show. Like that wasn't much, that wasn't as much compared to like, yeah, ATV and all these other things.
And it's kind of cool to see how Gandora is doing it now. He's got his own little creative spin on
Oh,
it.
he's so awesome. It's so cool to see that was one of my things, was seeing somebody else do it
Hmm.
and like how they're gonna do it.
Yeah, I hope it continues to do that. Like it, maybe in another year,
Metamorphosis. Yeah,
Gandora
another
will
year
get.
somebody else is
Yeah,
gonna host it, and yeah, I hope so too.
I often think that Twitch is like high school, and there's just like different graduation classes. You know,
Some people would say that, like, that there's like sort of generations of Star Citizen streamer.
there definitely is. Yeah, totally. I just
I
don't
mean,
know
by the
where.
time it's released, there's gonna be several.
I
So I'm
can't.
just teasing. I love you, CIG. Don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at
Oh,
me.
there's gonna be many generations after that. Are you kidding? I just don't know if I'm a part of the generation or if I'm like the janitor of the high school. I can't figure that part out yet.
Yeah. Or if you're like that guy who like graduated and then like you're just like, but you still like hang around,
Oh,
like
that's
just hanging out
exactly who I
driving.
am.
Oh my goodness.
But the
Ugh.
thing is, I was that guy, actually that guy in high school. So there we go.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is that the school used to have really good internet, and nowhere else in the town had internet. So that's just what happened. Yeah. So you did a good job with the night crew. Thank you for everything you've done.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a good time. I really, you were always one of my favorites to have on the show because
I
we would
love
always
being
have a
on
really
it.
good time.
Yeah. We had so much fun.
We had fun. We had a lot of fun. You always like you were. I always say about this about you, and is that you surprised me when I started doing that, because like when I met you in general, because like just based on like the way you looked on camera, because I think one of the first times I met you was like while we were both on an episode of Night Crew before I hosted, And I remember the time thinking, oh, he looks like a really reserved, like really polite guy. And you are like pretty, you're soft spoken and you're really polite. But at the same time, like you just surprised me with like how what's what's the word? I can't think of the word. With how like saucy you are. Like you were a little more sassy and like I don't know, just kind of playful than I expected. I think is a good word for it, playfulness.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, I guess.
I
Yeah.
mean, you surprised me, and I was like, oh my god, I love Segellion. He's the best. You cracked me up the first couple times I talked to you. I was like, oh my god, he came out of like left field.
Whoops the daisy, hey? Yeah, I do that sometimes. So, just to change gears here, tell me about your video game resume. Tell me about the games that you've played to get to where you are today.
Okay,
There's
I
a boa
think.
on your green screen right now. It's floating by the Hurston building. Just saying.
Oh, sorry, it's the boa. It's a boa constrictor. Here, let's put it over here. But no, I think that I want to say like I first started watching or playing like the game I remember like I had an NES. I remember I came back from like a vacation to Missouri when I was a kid, and uh my cousin had like an NES at the time, and I really liked it while I was down there. So I when we got back from vacation and seeing those family, I was just like going on and on about how I wanted an NES. And so my great grandpa actually, he just took me to the store one day and got it for me. Like a Kmart. He took me to Kmart and got it. And so I remember playing like Duck Hunt. That's the
Duck
one I
Hunt.
really liked.
Oh man, that's
Because I
great.
was terrible at all the other ones, like the platformers. I'm I'm so bad at platformers. Like I'm the worst at platformers. So I would play like Duck Hunt and stuff like that. And then I played, and then like later on in life, we got an N64 because I wasn't really into video games too much. I mean, we played like Mortal Kombat or something once in a while on my dad's like Super Nintendo when I was a kid. But I remember the N64 was where I really got into a game again. That was Zelda, Ocarina of Time.
Mm-hmm.
I got really into that. I tried to play Majora's Mask later on. It kind of freaked me out. I didn't want to play it anymore. And then as I got older, got an Xbox, and I there were a couple like whatever games I played on the Xbox back in the day, on the original Xbox. But later on, like I was like in high school and college and things like that. I think when the 360 was out, and I remember playing like Mass Effect. That was my big thing back in my early college days was Mass Effect. Because like high school and all that, I didn't really play many video games. I mean, sometimes I played stuff on the computer a little bit here and there. Like I had this one that I really liked that was like about like it was like kind of like one of those civilization games, but it was like Egypt. And so I used to really loved like that kind of stuff, but like yeah, I didn't really do a lot of that kind of stuff in high school and all that because I just was like I was really into role playing.
Mm.
That's where like I was a really young kid when I started like doing like kind of D&D style like role playing games based off of like fandoms I was into, like Batman and like Star Trek and stuff like that because I got into Star Trek through a Batman RPG. But yeah, I got really into like role playing games and D&D style. And it wasn't until it was in college that I was playing D&D. But like I said, I was in early days of college and I played Mass Effect, and that kind of blew my mind at the time. I really loved that game. I loved the Krogans because they were like the Klingons of Mass Effect. And then all the Mass Effect, anytime the Mass Effect games were on, I had an Xbox, and I had that game the day it released. Like after the first Mass Effect, both the other Mass Effects I bought on like night that they released. I love those games, and I think that kind of, in a weird way, is sort of probably what makes me like Star Citizen so much because like it kind of when I started playing Star Citizen, it started to make me think like, oh, it's kind of in some ways like kind of makes me think of like what I wish Mass Effect had, or like everything about Mass Effect's great, but I wish there was like just more, And so yeah, Star Citizen really kind of got me. But even before then, I just had a couple of little whatever games, and then my ex got me into Star Citizen. So, but I didn't think he would expect it to become the beast of focus that it became.
He didn't expect that.
No,
Yeah.
neither of us did. because you were saying before, like about the podcast thing, like that was the thing. My ex had bought me like all this podcast equipment. I didn't even want to be like a podcast person. I didn't even. He just randomly bought it and said, "Hey, I got you all this equipment," and I was like, "Why?" He's like, "I think you should do podcasts." I was like, "Okay," and so got like, and I had this equipment. I eventually set it up and stuff. And I had no idea what I was gonna do, and then it just eventually, like a few months later, I just started wandering into like Star Citizen streams and being like 1 and 1 equals 2, like figuring out, okay, I could do this. Like I didn't know what I was going to podcast about, but this seems like a good alternative to just stream playing video games. And I've had a good time ever since. So
You ever watch the like Grand Theft Auto role playing? You ever seen those before?
I've seen like snippets of them, but I've never like just sat down and watched it. But people are like really into that.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like one of the bigger role playing communities on
Yeah.
Twitch, which I don't
Yeah,
understand.
absolutely.
Yeah. And I often wonder, I'm going to be going on I think it's a podcast with some role players in Star
Mhm.
Citizen. And like, I really don't feel prepared. Like I'm very passionate towards role play, but we live in like this D&D culture and I don't identify with that at all. So,
Really.
but like,
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like I said, D&D. Like I started doing like text, like all this stuff I did when I was younger was text based, and so
yeah,
it took me a while, like before I finally got to the point where I was playing D&D, but also like to get into the idea of it. Like I have a bad habit of, instead of just speaking as the character, I'm like, okay, my character says this, and then I ease into the, like doing the character's voice and things like that. But I've seen people that can just like RP, like they won't even like, okay, I'm gonna do the, they don't break character. They just, it's like acting. It's just by a different name. It's
that's
more
exactly
interactive.
what it is. Yeah, we're performers. I think I would like to move into that direction eventually. Is that crazy
What,
to
to role
say?
play?
Yeah, like full on.
I think you like when you were at CitizenCon. I remember you kind of like did like your little character and stuff up on
Yikes.
stage during the, and I thought it was great. It's just, it's just like any good thing. You just have to like practice it.
What? That's crazy. Well, I guess
Like
if you're doing
like
it on
just sit in
Twitch,
front of your computer and just like think of like things that your character, like like when you're a kid and you pretend like you're on like a late night television show and getting interviewed.
yeah,
Just
can't imagine what
just
that
like
would be
that.
like.
Do like that. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Well, I think I'm
I, I
gonna.
I didn't realize I just made that joke while on a kind of like I didn't even think about
Oh,
that
I
because
thought it.
I used to fantasize about getting interviewed by Conan O'Brien. Oh
Oh,
my god, I love him.
well, I
He was
mean,
my first. He was my first crush. My first teenage crush, or really, he was my first like big crush. So this girl loved her some Conan.
oh, that's good. Well, that's cool. Well, we'll see. I'll let you know how that goes. I might start doing a little something this week to see how that works out. Um, yeah, how's everything been with Star Citizen though? Just overall in general, what's your 3.9 experience been like?
It's been good. I've had a character reset just about like every week or every other week, depending
Yikes!
on like, oh my god, that kills me. I mean, even when we were getting set up before the show, I mean, remember I was like, hey, I just took off like my what was it, my undersuit, and then like I unequipped it, save change, and then went back into it, and I was like, that undersuit's missing now. Like I was just losing. I don't even, this freaking, every time there's an Evocati or PT, like PTU build, whether it's an Evocati wave 1, wave 2, all that, it seems like every time the live servers just start getting weird,
It's
like
so
real
true.
weird.
Yeah,
I mean, they're already weird enough. We already got enough weird bugs in Star Citizen, but it just gets like, yeah, it just gets wild when there's a PTU buildup of some kind.
yeah, it's true. I don't even know like how do you explain that, but yeah, this happens. Um, anything that you're looking forward to? I guess in 310.
um I think I'm looking forward to the car to all getting fixed. I've been complaining about that for a long time. That the car to all just breaks down after a couple minutes because it's like components are just that bad. So it's being fixed, or maybe it's just bugged, but I don't know. But it's been fixed, so I'm really excited for that because I'm ready for the car to all to be like something worth having again. I'm also excited for trying to think everything that's I'm really the stuff they talked about in Inside Star Citizen yesterday, like with the flight model and all that. I haven't watched Calling All Devs yet today, but I'm
Mm.
really excited to watch that because it talks about PvP. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm really excited to see what they just the flight model stuff change. I Some people get really like, even John Crew I think was the one saying like, sometimes our community like really doesn't like change,
Yeah.
like I think that was John Crew, but like he was saying they could be really afraid of change, and as much as it can be inconvenient to be used to something and for it to just totally like turn upside down on its head overnight, I enjoy that. I think that's one of the best things about Star Citizen is as it's going on and developing, like you're kind of with it. So like I always tell people, and you've heard me say this, like I'm always you guys we're all gonna like look back on days like now and in the past and go, man, remember when you could just go around kill everybody and it didn't like you didn't put you in prison and it didn't like have any, you didn't have to pay fines, or remember when you could like go down to like Lorville and do that or do this, like just run around the place, there's so much of what's happening now that we're gonna miss in like a few years when it's released.
There is a huge group of players right now that have never played the game without a prison in it.
I never thought about that, but yeah, you're right.
That's the next
Oh my
generation of
god.
Star Citizen gamer.
Yeah, that's gonna be like, yeah, the generational separator for a while is like, I remember when we didn't go to prison.
Yeah, well, there
I
might be
remember.
more crazy stuff too in the future. Like, what if there's no guard zone anymore and you can shoot anybody anywhere?
Yeah, like remember when we used to steal like remember, I think before that it was like stuff like what is it, the big Benny stuff, right?
Oh,
Because
from
you used
the
to be able to
Kovalac
steal
station.
the big Benny's machines,
Yep. Yeah,
and
that's
now
how
you
they.
can't.
I went to
And
Benny Henge couple of weeks ago. They got rid of the music. Remember going there and it has the music?
oh yeah, it had like really subtle music, but it was there
It was like
from
this
what I
weird
remember.
like anime music or something.
Oh really? Oh yeah, because it's like the Big Benny's music.
Yeah, it's the Big
It's
Benny's
like da da da
music.
da da. Like it's really yes, I remember. It's gone from there
It's
now.
gone from there now. There's nothing.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, I always remember using that as a wayfinder. It's like if ever I wanted to find Benny Henge, I would just fly out by Grimhex until I heard the music, and then I would be there. Not anymore.
Hmm. That's funny. I never thought about that.
I don't think it's funny.
I love the Big Benny's theme though. It's beautiful,
Yeah, I wonder
beautiful piece.
I wonder when we're gonna get Big Benny's in the game.
Oh my god! Like when we'll be able to eat it. Oh, that would be so cool.
When are we gonna be
Can't
able
wait for
to?
that.
When are we gonna be able to cook it as well?
Yeah. Oh, I've always said I want cooking mechanics, and they don't have to be like really complicated
They're
cooking
gonna be
mechanics. But I
really
would love
complicated.
cooking mechanics in Star Citizen.
Yeah, that's
There's
true.
some games that really like get like, I don't know if you play Breath of the Wild, but like that has really great cooking mechanics.
No, I don't
It's like
think.
you just throw in like five ingredients, and sometimes it makes really awful food depending on what you put in, and other times it like actually is like a set recipe in the game. So it'd be cool if like you get like a specific set of ingredients and like you just kind of throw it in a pot and you maybe leave it for like a few minutes and come back and it's or stir it or whatever. I don't know. Me personally, I would love to have a game that actually like is full cooking, like it's just cooking. But I don't know where like cooking mechanics of Star Citizen seem like they're necessary to some ships, but at the same time, like how are they going to make that work without it becoming like some big drag? Like I think it could be like a cool mini game, basically. Like it could be not necessarily an actual mini game, but basically something to do on long journeys
I think
in the ship.
that's how it is in most games, though, isn't it? Isn't it just like a mini game?
Kind of, yeah, not exactly. Like some it's more of just like, okay, like go up to this place and like throw these ingredients in a pot and like you'll have like 2 seconds later, like your dish pops out and you're good, kind of like Sims or something like that. But
Mm-hmm.
and like Breath of the Wild. But I don't know, I just don't know how like complicated, because it's just one of those things. Because like, but some people like will sit there and say, well, we don't need cooking mechanics in Star Citizen. I'm like, yeah, but what if you own an 890?
Yeah, that's a yeah. As an 890 owner, I would say I'm so excited to use that kitchen. You have no idea.
Yeah, like that. Me too. Like I don't even own an 890, but that's like the thing I would be the most into with the
It
890.
100% is. 100%. And it's like the kitchen in the 890 has the fidelity. It's got like dry storage. It's got that walk-in fridge. It's got the
Mm-hmm.
the island that's like suspended in midair. It's a beautiful kitchen. I can't wait to destroy it.
Yeah, it's gonna be super freaking cool. It's gonna be awesome, and I can't wait for it because I think it'll be like really neat. Because I mean, you could sit there and like, cause like, why would you on an 890 just give everybody like chocolate bars or rations? Like that's not what they came
Hell
aboard the
no.
890 for.
That's right. They want
Now, if it's like
champagne.
something where like instead of like you doing it personally, like maybe it's like one of those like NPC types of crew members you can hire, and it becomes like, oh, you hire a chef. But I would hope that somebody could actually be a chef on a ship if they wanted, like
It's
in
true.
Star Citizen.
Then you just hire the pilots and you hire the captain for the 890 and you can be the chef.
Yeah, how cool would that be? Instead of like an 890 being about like, oh, who's gonna like, who's like real people staff like the bridge, and then like everybody else on the ship is like the servants, and everybody are like totally NPC. Like, I wouldn't want to necessarily play a servant, but like it would be cool that if people could be a chef, or they could be like they could do that. Because I mean, sitting there and just sitting in the bridge while you're like quantuming somewhere is not really going to be very exciting, you
No,
know?
no.
Especially if it's a long quantum, like it's for a few hours or something.
Goodness, could you imagine a few hour quantum? I don't think that would happen. You think that'll happen?
Well, I think it could. It just would need to be that Star Citizen needs to, and then really they do limit you from going. I don't think they would actually let you be able to jump that far unless you were in one of those wormhole things.
Well, I wonder how long we're going to spend in a wormhole thing when we're going between systems.
I bet that's kind of the point of them, is they're supposed to be like, in real life they would be like faster travel, and like as far as a game goes, like instead of like taking like 10 hours to quantum somewhere, you could just like in actual game mechanics, like you could be there in 5 minutes if you know how. And of course the challenge is to navigate that hole properly.
I hope there's a 10-hour quantum. That would be really cool.
That would be cool because that would be fun. I'm sorry, I would love that. That's always my favorite. Like if I was like to RP, especially if I was an RP Star Citizen, that would be like the fun part, is like the interlude between scenes, like major acts of the play, so to speak.
Don't
You know what I
they
mean?
didn't don't they talk about planets that haven't been discovered yet? Like we're going to have the option to explore new
Yeah, and I
worlds.
mean you're gonna have to probably like have some real dedication to find places like that, I would think.
So it's like you start your quantum travel in the morning, and then late at night you come home from work or whatever, and then you just arrive at your destination. Okay, time to start exploring now.
Yeah, like it becomes like a thing,
I just figured it out. You know what's great about having like my own show is Penguins doesn't like theory crafting, so we can theory craft on this show.
Yeah. Like I want to think of some ideas, okay? Thank you very much.
Just for exploration and cooking. Those are the important things. There wasn't much changing though as far as like the roadmap goes. A couple more things for the cargo deck. The bartender's still coming in, I guess. The electricity guns. One thing that's really interesting in the ISC yesterday was the like the pips and the fact that bullets will now curve towards enemies. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, like it's basically like kind of like the gimbal assist, but it's for those fixed.
Do you have opinions
Right?
about
Like
this?
I think it's good because I think if they're gonna have gimbal assist, they needed to have fixed assist. Like it's though I will say that like the auto like the gimbal assist, I think has made me a better fixed fighter. Because now like sometimes when I'm just using straight gimbal, I'm like, oh, I gotta switch to actual fixed because I like my with the way that the gimbal fix works, it's like I've been trained to sort of um be a better fixed fighter. I don't know if that makes sense with the way it works, but yeah, I think it's great. I think it's fair that people that use fixed have something going on that gimbal people would have on. But yeah, because some people want to be able to have like decent, like be able to fight decently without having to like switch to gimbal just to get that extra little bit of help, because you have to go down a size, so in gun size.
I'm gonna have to trust you on that. I don't know enough about combat. That's why I ask about your opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just combat with NPCs mostly. I just mostly do, I guess, what we would call PVE. So I don't really do like a lot of like PvP as much. I would like to do more PvP, but it is what it is.
Is that FPS PvP or PvE? FPS or in ship? What do you play?
Both. But I mostly do ship.
You mostly do ship combat.
I'll go do FPS once in a while, like, but mostly I'm doing like ship stuff.
Okay, cool. So I guess how do you feel about the Star Runner coming out? Are you gonna use that ship at all? 311. We're talking about 311 now.
I don't even have a Mercury Star Runner.
Yeah.
I am not in a position in life where I can just like buy ships a lot, and so I'm kind of working with what I got. But I generally would say like, I mean, I'm probably gonna enjoy checking it out, and if it like it's just like I'm really picky with Star Citizenships. As a matter of fact, I'm
Yeah.
super picky. Super picky. Like at one point, like my ex wanted to get me a Gladius, and now I kind of wish I had let him do it because it's gotten better. But like back in the day, I was like, no, I just want my arrow. Like arrow's fine. Like I convinced him like, no, I want an arrow instead. I do not want the Gladius.
Yours is a pretty good ship.
I love the arrow.
Yeah.
Arrow's my baby. Arrow's my baby. It's my son. I showed her how to ride a bike. You know, I walked it down the aisle at its wedding.
Are you
I love it.
actually that attached to the ship? Like, do you own a lot of ships? Is it a personal question?
I have a pretty decent amount of ships. I don't have like some people like where they have like pretty much almost a little bit of everything. I would say I have about like I don't know between like 8 to 10 ships and like a couple of ground vehicles. Not much, but
So you
that's
what
what I got.
you pretty much live in the Arrow then? You
Yeah,
say? Yeah, that's cool. I had no idea. I didn't know that.
I mostly live in the Arrow. The freelancer is what I use to kind of taxi myself around the verse. And but I have stuff I haven't pulled out in like probably in years, like my Argo and PUV. I don't think I've pulled that out in literal like a year and a half at least. I have my I have the thing I'm most excited about that I do have that's a concept um that's eventually coming out is the Ares Starfighter Inferno.
Oh
I've
yeah.
had a Hurricane for a long time, but I went ahead and upgraded it to the Starfighter because I'm like, well, turret gameplay sucks anyway, and I'm the kind of person who plays most of the time by myself, and so I just figure like that's gonna be a fun and the loner fort's the Hurricane, so I'll get to keep using the Hurricane. But now that turreting gameplay is fixed, I'm kind of like, will I regret getting rid of my Hurricane? Like will I regret upgrading that later? But and then I also have an Origin 135C, which
Oh,
the loaner
cool.
for that's an Origin 300i. But I'm really excited for my 135C
That's
too.
cool. Okay, well that's coming in 310, so that's something to look
Yeah,
forward to, right?
I'm
That's a,
really looking forward to that. That's a really cool one, and I got that because like my original idea for like what I'm gonna do in Star Citizen is like having like a touring company, like
right.
that does like roadie that gets roadies like basically employs the roadies and has the equipment and then like moves like the artists and the roadies like show to show and sets up the shows. Like that was like my idea. So that's kind of what my fleet is actually like originally was geared toward. That's why I have stuff like the freelancer. But then like I just became a fighter. Like I just started fighting everything. Who knows? Like, by the time the game's released, I could have a totally different goal of what I want to do in Star Citizen. It's just constantly changing in its development. So it's hard to like say, well, this is what I want to do in Star Citizen anymore.
Yeah. I try not to ask that question, but like yeah, it's just I mean, I'm at least curious if you prefer FPS over ship just because, you started with Duck Hunt. So you still basically play Duck Hunt, I wonder.
I've always been very good at games where you're shooting something like with an actual gun, like or a mock up of an actual gun. I've always done really well with games where I can like physically hold something that actually resembles a gun and shoot that way. It's things that like with keyboards and mouses that I feel like I kind of maybe struggle with more, but over the years I'm fine. But yeah, I really, really, really love FPS. It's just that I tend to panic. I get really scared sometimes and I run away and get kind of like recalibrated and come back. I'm a retreat and like kind of come back forward, inch back forward kind of person when I fight in Star Citizen FPS. But I've had people. I've actually had some guy like a couple months back. He came into my channel while I was doing FPS stuff, and he was like, "You have a really good target acquisition." And I'm like, "Thanks,
Thanks.
cool, neat. I'm glad." And I guess I do. I mean, I'm pretty sneaky when I can be. I'll try to sneak. I like try to like get a shot between crates instead of like just out in the open. And I always try to go for the head. Like I try to be pretty precise, but I'm not always precise. Sometimes I'm just like, just die, just spray him with lead, you know. But it happens.
It happens. Yep. Well, I'm excited to play around with that electron gun when that comes out
Oh
soon.
my
Soon
god,
to
I'm
yeah.
so excited. I'm
Yeah.
glad you mentioned that because that's the other, like there's so many little things coming in 310 like that, and like that's definitely like, oh, I'm super excited for that gun.
Just little things, really. I think.
I'm so into that gun. That's gonna be cool. Like I literally like I want to like go play with like some friends and stuff, like somebody like Tickles or Vertigo or whoever, and just be like, okay, like this gun, like we have access to this gun now. Like let's just like get like 5 people together and have them all kind of stand near each other and see if it does the thing it's supposed to do, or it takes out like five, like it kind of damages like several people next to each other, that kind of stuff. It looks wild and cool, and I'm so excited for it. It just looks really neat. I love things. I love things that CIG does. I also love certain people at CIG.
Of course. Yeah, I've heard rumors around here and there, so
Oh
me
my
too.
god.
Yeah.
I've heard rumors. Like you've actively made fun of me on Night Crew shows.
I'm a hobbyist troll, so don't mind me.
Yeah. Well, I mind. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah. But yeah, that gun looks super cool. There's just so many little things coming. And oh, dragging. Dragging looks fun.
Body
Jared was right
dragging.
when he
Yep.
said, people are gonna like make memes of it. They totally are. They drag each other everywhere.
That's cool. Well, I'm all out of questions. Um so, we might as well I guess wrap that up there if you'd like. Uh I don't know what are you planning for the future? What's the future of Buster the
Mm,
Destroyer?
well, I'm working on kind of getting this day gig set up, but COVID keeps, really kicking everybody's butt. And so I'm trying to get into a place where I'm like, making some like kind of like back to sort of a like a part-time type day job. Kind of basically doing Twitch related stuff actually for my best friend's company and things like that. But overall, like for the channel, I just don't know. I mean, I really want I really want to be very successful at streaming to the point that I could just like it could be my thing. Like that's just what I do for pretty much the remainder of most of my days, outside of just whatever interesting work comes along my plate. Because I mean, you know that I was like an event planner before all this went down, and
Yeah. Yeah.
we got hit real hard. So I don't know. I just want people to like I don't know. I just want people to come by and appreciate. And if like I kind of have some ideas, like I want, like I said, the cooking thing, maybe we'll do that a little more often. I just want to get into a position where I can just do things related to yet outside of Star Citizen, and then I can also just straight up do things that are not Star Citizen. But I don't know. I just love Star Citizen so much; it's hard to like not play it when you play it all the time. But I don't know. Like, there's just so many things that could happen in the future, and I just don't know like what exactly is coming. But I hope it's good things, and I've been trying to also like kind of tell my community and other people that maybe don't watch me all the time, but watch me in snippets. Like, hey, like, what do you think I could be improving? Like, what are taking ideas from other content creators once in a while. Sometimes people suggest like people. It was other people that suggested to me I do something like Klingon Citizen where I do the makeup and everything. Since I'm good at doing the makeup,
I
it's like
think the
why not
makeup's good.
take advantage of that kind of
Yeah.
thing. And I think one of the things I might be doing, I have to really get with CAG about it, but I'm a part of the Klingon Assault group. And we were thinking about like maybe kind of through my channel doing like sort of a every other week or something kind of show or once a month. So like where it's sort of like kind of like this, but it's like more about I'm interviewing somebody who is like from like who either is like maybe an expert on Klingon language and can kind of give everybody like a Klingon one-on-one, or interviewing somebody who maybe worked on like in some capacity in the Star Trek world on Klingon makeup or Klingon costumes, just whatever. I want to like have that avenue of like with them of like have it, because their CAGCon they really enjoyed and was really successful. A lot of people like in CAG showed up for that and really participated, and so I'm hoping that like they kind of want something a little more regular for like the overall of CAG. And so maybe that's kind of what we're thinking about doing, is basically I would host some kind of show that's not necessarily, it's not like having a convent like a whole convention like we did, but it's, it's like just kind of going over Klingon subjects and things
Wait,
like a
so what's CAG? What's CAG?
Klingon Assault Group.
Klingon
It's a
Assault
worldwide
Group.
organization of Klingons.
Wow, I had no
There's
idea.
about 1,500 members.
That's it? Hmm.
There could be more. I think there might be more. It just depends. There's some people who just don't do the whole net thing. But CAG's been around for like 30 plus years.
I'm yeah, well, I'm just surprised there's only 1,500 people. Jeez, we need more Klingons out there. Hmm.
Well, people, Star Trek's one of those things. Like, there's a lot of people who are into like Klingon stuff and like are into Star Trek, but there's not like not everybody's like dedicated enough to like join a group about it. You know what I mean? So there's probably plenty of people out there who do Klingon roleplay and cosplay, and even some of the people that were at CAG con were actually people from other like Klingon organizations, weren't members of CAG, but they were still panelists.
Ah, I see.
So there, I think CAG's like kind of one of the bigger organizations, but I'm sure there's like other organizations that are more regional or like national, like maybe like nation based, but the CAG's worldwide. But I think the majority of people that are in it are in the United States.
You ever think about like, is there masks or headpieces that you could get instead of having to go through the
Oh, I
effort
have
of
one. I
makeup? You
have
have
one. I
one.
just have to do some creative editing to it, to get it to kind of suit my face better, because
Okay.
it's female Klingon makeup doesn't really go far back at all. Actually, like it'll basically just come just over like their hairline, and that's it. But whereas a male, it goes like way back, right?
Right.
So I have a male piece, which I could have gotten a female made, like a piece made for a female head, but I wanted these specific ridges because they are the ridges of a specific character in Star Trek. Who my character Baj from Vasquez from Star Trek Vasquez is the daughter of that character, so I wanted her to have actual ridge, like his actual ridges.
Oh my goodness.
I
Okay.
know,
Yep.
like super nerdy,
No, that's legit.
the nerdiest.
That's good. It's fidelity. That's what that is.
Continuity, fidelity. Yeah, fidelity is a better word. Yeah, you're right. Fidelity.
Okay, well, I'll stay tuned to your cooking stream and your Klingon stream. It's all good. Um, I did have a little bit of Klingon here that I'm gonna try and pronounce. Vig, no, Viu Wig Lemech Ilaj Hilt Hej Ramvam Katlo.
Okay, post it in the chat so I can see it too.
Okay, hold on.
I want to see it.
Maybe you
And what's
pronounce
it
it better
mean?
than me. It's supposed to be thanks for having a chat with me tonight.
Oh, that's
That's
cute.
what
I
it's
love
supposed to
it.
be. Hold on, can I post it in this one here? There you go.
Oh, did you send it to me on Discord?
Oh no, I posted the wrong channel. Hold on, I'll post it in Discord.
It happens.
Because maybe
It's
you'll
okay.
pronounce it better than me. There.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was wanting to know. Is like I was gonna look at it. Viwech mech. Every time you see, here's a good tip. Okay, anytime you see a capital H in Klingon, it's really like, right?
Okay.
So, and anytime you see what looks like an underscore L is probably a capital I. So it would be like Viweg mech Yiljach Hechlech Ramvam Katuch. I don't know. It's hard. It really
Yay.
is. It's hard to get Klingon.
That's awesome.
But also, like another thing with Klingon is like, and this is kind of the thing with the translate, and this is really any like translator generally, unless it's like there's a lot of languages, there's a lot of really good translators. You can type like a pretty common phrase in it, and it'll figure out exactly like how it's supposed to be said. But Klingon, like if you wanted to say like if I wanted to say like okay, Segellion is going to sleep, I would say Kong Segellion. Instead of Segellion Kong, I would say Kong Segellion. I would it's basically like saying like 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 that's exactly how you say Segellion wants to go like he's going to sleep or Segellion sleeps. It's because Kong means sleep. But like if I wanted to say I'm going to sleep, I would actually have Yich Kong, which means like Yich means me. And if I wanted to say like, okay, Segellion doesn't sleep, right? Like Segellion's not going, or he doesn't want it. Like Segellion doesn't sleep. It would be Kong Bech Segellion because Bech at the end of a word indicates like the negative form of that word.
Mm.
Instead of saying like no sleep, it just means like sleep not, but it's as if it's one word. If does it make sense?
That makes
And
so
so
much
the
sense. Yeah.
subject of a sentence is often at the end of a sentence in Klingon.
Okay.
So trying to think of a phrase like yeah, like I mean Kong is always easy for me to go to, but yeah, like the subject and it's such an interesting language. It's just and then like there's you add something at the end of the word to make it the negative form of the word, or you add something to like the beginning of the word to indicate yourself, and then like maybe like one other like koi kalas puglod. The first line of that is that means koi kalas puglod is here sons of Kalas. Puglod is at the end of the sentence. The sons. That's what puglod means. Sons. So koi Kalas puglod. Here sons of Kalas. So sons is like literally right in the middle of the sentence, but in Klingon it's at the end of the sentence. And then koi pugbe pu. So koi pugbe pu means daughters too. Like that's that line means here daughters too. So and then like pugbe, like it's like puglod male, pugbe women. So earlier when I said bay, I was actually wrong. But poo, poo, and then and so there's things like that. Like this, the subject of whoever you're being, the thing you're talking about is always at the end of the sentence. Which anyway, I won't go on about Klingon
I
anymore.
had no idea you knew so much about Klingon. Do you
I've been
know
learning. I've been learning. I just it's so hard for me to recognize it, like to read it.
when did you start learning Klingon like full time like this?
Oh, like about a year ago, but I haven't been learning full time. Like it's like when I first started, I went really hard, but then like I've gotten to the point where like I maybe do it a couple times a week. It's actually funny during the CAG con that we did, the Klingon Assault Group Convention. The like if you use Duolingo, there's Klingon lessons on Duolingo, and it's funny because this guy comes on. He comes on to talk about Klingon language. He gives us like a panel, and I forget how you say it, but it's like the Klingon like art of insults and cursing at each other. And he was a really cool guy. He was really interesting, and he's talking. Of course, he's starting out talking in English. And as we're getting into the panel, he starts to speak the Klingon words as he's trying to teach. Like, okay, say it with me. Blah 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 blah. And it was like as soon as he started talking and speaking in Klingon, I recognized his voice
Yeah,
because he's one of the voices in the Duolingo program.
I see.
And he had said like as he got started like yeah I'm a contributor to the Duolingo like and I was thinking oh well he's an expert on Klingon like he probably helps them like write it like the lessons. I wasn't even thinking about the voice because I would think I just when he said I contributed I'm thinking oh he means that he gave them like lessons and helped them structure or something. He did like kind of the paperwork side of it. And then it turned out oh no he's maybe he did that but he is also the voice. He's the male Klingon voice in those. And I was like and I told him after the panel, I was like, I didn't, I thought I didn't really think much of you. I mean, you're some guy. And then as soon as you started speaking Klingon, I knew exactly who you were. I recognized you right away.
do you
Did not
ever
recognize him when he was speaking English, though.
do you ever think about learning Xi'an or looking into that at all?
Klingon's hard enough,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
I would love to learn like all these, but at a certain point, like I need if I'm going to learn all these languages, I need to learn Spanish because I live in Texas. I took 2 years of Spanish in high school, and you'd think I'd know more than like bailar.
You think that learning Spanish should be easy after learning Klingon?
Maybe, maybe. I mean, there's things I remember about Spanish. Like I definitely like I can get around with a little bit. Like I can like say, oh, where's the baño, that kind of stuff. Like things like that. But I would like to be better at actually speaking Spanish, but Klingon's like also like I've always wanted to know Klingon. I've wanted to know Klingon since I was like a kid, and so I finally like have an avenue to learn it in that's convenient for me, and it doesn't cost me a crap ton of money or something.
Well, I think it's cool. I love the Klingon culture that you bring to Twitch, and
It's really fun.
that was what we were supposed to talk to tonight for the majority. So
Oh, we
hopefully we did
didn't. We got onto all these other subjects.
that.
It's
Uh,
okay. We're talking about now though. We're doing it at the end. That's fine. I mean, I really do love Klingon stuff. It's really fun. I've liked Klingon since I was like, I remember like when I was a kid, I really loved the original series. And one of my favorite episodes of the original series is one called The Squire of Gothos. And it's about like this guy, and it's kind of like he's kind of like a Q type character. He's like kind of omnipotent. This guy,
yeah.
like he basically just like he just is like, hey, come hang out with me. And if you don't hang out with me, I'm gonna be total dick to you guys. And I love that episode. And the same actor ended up playing Koloth, who was a Klingon. He's like one of those actors like back. He's one of those OG Star Trek actors that like did several roles before. Like, and it's probably one of the reasons like the show really does that a lot because one, it's a sci-fi. You can recycle actors as long as it's different makeup and they just change their voice a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But like he was one of those that I think he was in like 2 or 3 episodes of Star Trek. I mean, I know he was in any episode with Koloth in it, but like I think he played one other character in Star Trek. I'm not quite sure, but he did like 2 or 3 roles in Star Trek over the years in the '60s. And Koloth was supposed to actually become like the big if the show had not been like canceled, that was one of the big plans for the third season. Is like the character Koloth that he played. William, I think the actor's name is William Campbell. He was supposed to be like kind of like the sexy rival of Kirk. Like they were basically like the idea was is Koloth and Kirk were essentially the same guy. They were just on two different sides of the coin. Like Koloth was kind of the Klingon version of Kirk, and Kirk is kind of like the human version of Koloth. Like they both have sex appeal. They're both, like exploring new worlds, strange new life, but they're just different guys. You know what I mean? Like they just are from different ends of the spectrum, of the alien spectrum. And so that was going to be one of the things with Koloth was he was going to be like kind of Kirk's like rival in general. And so yeah. And
That's him.
anyway, they that was another thing is like the show they just didn't use him as much as they intended except for other stuff.
They didn't
And I
have a
was
lot of Klingons overall in the
not in
original
the original
series.
series,
Yeah.
not in the original series. Like they kind of and honestly like a lot of people, would say that like the way the Klingons look in the original series is like kind of it's problematic because it's like kind of in some ways a bit racist
Mm-hmm.
because of like they're like emulating like specific like it's kind of half yellow face a little bit if that makes
Ah, that's
sense.
true. Yeah.
And so I mean it is what it is. You can't change the past and you can't change what happened before, and obviously they did something unique with it down the line to make it more of its own thing than just like, oh look, we made them look like Mongols.
Yeah, I got
you
another
know
image here. I found another image of him, and with
yeah,
a
because he
bigger
was in an
budget.
episode of DS9.
This is from DS9. This one.
Yeah, he was
Okay.
in an episode of DS9 called Blood Oath, and he dies in that episode.
Oh, this is his last one. His
Sorry,
final
spoiler
hurrah.
alert.
Yep. Nice hair. It's so curly. It's a secret.
Yeah, and that again, that's the father of my character in Star Trek Vasquez.
Okay. Gotcha.
That's the father of my character, and I loved this. But anyway, I always loved that actor, and so I really love Star Trek. I used to watch the original series, and I always liked the Klingons because one of my favorite episodes, like anybody, is Trouble with Tribbles, and Koloth is in that episode, and like he's so like my dear Captain Kirk, like he just has this way of speaking and stuff, and I always thought like, okay, Klingons are pretty cool, like they have cool imagery, you know what I mean? They have like
Mm-hmm.
cool logos, they have cool like clothes, even in the original series, and then I finally got into TNG, and of course Worf is there, and I thought, okay, like Worf is cool, but the problem, and I've said this before about Worf, is like I love the character Worf, but the problem with Worf is like Worf was always like sort of like the character that was like supposed to like get like they used him too much as a character like to show off like okay these aliens are really tough because they can beat up the Klingon.
That's true. Yeah.
But the problem, and that's fine to do, but the problem is they never really built Worf back up. He was always just getting his ass handed to him without actually like getting built back up. And so people always make that joke like Worf is like, Worf sucks. Like Worf isn't nearly as tough as he is. They try to sell you like he is. And it's like, yeah, because they don't spend the time building him back up. So I don't know. Worf I always liked, but like it wasn't until recently, until like a couple months ago, I got into Deep Space Nine, which Mr. Huckabee, I told about the fact, like I was like, I'm about to start watching DS9 and I've never watched it before, and he was like, oh my god, it's the best, Buster, you're gonna enjoy it. And I even check in with him and I'm like, oh hey, in season blah 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 of DS9, and it's really great, and these are my favorite episodes. And he and I both agree that the Ferengi episodes are way more amazing than they're given credit
It's
for.
true. Yeah.
They're the
Yeah,
best.
they are the
They're
best.
the best at Quark. I love Quark.
Yeah.
I love him so much. I love him so much. I also, and of course, Garrick. Garrick's also a huge fan favorite, and like Garrick, they're both great characters, but I personally prefer Quark over Garrick. But I love them both. And even in the beginning, like I hated Bashir. I hated Julian. I thought he was such a freaking like. He was so annoying because he was always hitting on Dax, and he
It's
wouldn't just
so
like take
true.
the hint. No, seriously, it
Yeah.
annoyed the crap out of me in the first season. I was like, this guy is such an asshole. I was like, God, even in like the 24th century, women can't get a fucking break, man. Like, holy
He was a big
shit.
wiener too, so that didn't
But
help.
then he gets a like he starts they really over time like they do such a good job with him. Like every character, if you were even a little bit quiet, like I don't know about them in the beginning of the show, they became amazing by the like by the, at least the point. I'm still in season 6. I haven't watched it in weeks, but I haven't been keeping up lately. But it's so good. Like Kira even I was like, oh my god, she's got to like fight everything. Like I get it, Kira. Like all these terrible things happen to you, and she, of course, like they did a good job of portraying that because she's always so angry in the beginning, and it makes sense. But at the time, like watching it, I'm like, Kira, stop trying to punch your way out of every problem. Like like you're not a Klingon. If we needed you to be Klingon, we'd make you a Klingon. But then, like as time goes on, she chills out, but she also like she's still Kira. She's still like a fighter, and a rebel. She's great. But I really liked her better down the line, like Julian. So, but Quark I love from day one. Quark
Yes.
fantastic all the time, like 11 out of 10. And Worf is way cooler in DS9, by the way, than TNG.
Yeah, I think all the TNG characters are
He
cooler
is
in
so much
DS9.
better in TNG or in DS. I mean, he's great as an actor in both, but like as a character, he's so much more meaningful in DS9.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, I agree. I 100% agree. I think DS9 overall they just invested more in character development.
Yeah, they did. It's really. I mean, a lot of those really Star Trek at its heart is always, in my opinion, should always be character driven.
Mm.
But man, how cool would it be though? Like one of these days for them, like, and I've always thought this, like, how cool would it be instead of doing like Star Trek, like some ship going places, doing stuff, Federation, that if they did literally the same format of show, but it was from the perspective of a Klingon ship.
Yes. That's a
And it would be like
great
so
idea.
Game of Thronesy because like
Yes.
you could have like it be a ship that's like loyal to like some like really important Klingon, and then maybe that Klingon gets killed, and they have to like, and there's like all this stuff. You could basically have like Klingon Game of Thrones, and it would
Yeah.
be amazing.
That's all you need. You just need Klingon Game of Thrones. I'd watch that. Yes.
No, yeah, like it would be a good show. Like I think Star Trek has always like had this really great idea of like, okay, humans and aliens and everybody's getting along and doing this cool shit. And that's awesome. That's one of the best things about Star Trek. It gives you a lot of hope for the future. But and Klingons aren't even necessarily always an enemy. It depends on what part of like the Star Trek continuity you would add the Klingon, like have a show about a Klingon ship. But like you could, if you like this trend where they want to do shows in like the era of like the original series, like with Discovery, or like slightly before the original series, like you could do something like that, like and maybe take somebody like a character like Koloth or Kor or Kang, like from the original series, and do a whole show about their ships and their journeys and how they operated, or do like a like what are the Klingons like now in like Picard's time, because they did not, like with the Picard show, without no spoilers, but they didn't touch on Klingons at all.
Didn't
They
they?
didn't. There was no mention of the Klingons except maybe like, oh, that's a Klingon ship or something. But we did not see any Klingons, and we did not see any reference to them
There's
beyond just passing by, like, oh, there's a bird of prey.
there is
I think
no
there's one
Worf.
episode. There's a bird of prey.
Worf didn't make it into Picard.
Mm-mm.
No. Damn. Is it over with now? That show?
Yeah, the first
I,
season is.
the
I
first.
think they're gonna do a second and third
Okay, so
season
maybe
probably.
Worf will come for the next season.
Well, I don't care for it to be Worf. I just want there to be like, what's going on with the Klingons right now? Like we're 30 years down the line. Like, are the Kittimer Accords still a thing? Like, are we still getting along? Are we like really getting along? Like, it's been like 30 years. We've kind of integrated into each other's societies, I would imagine, to a certain degree. There's probably more people that are Klingon serving in the Federation. There might actually be Klingons that want to be part of the Federation or Starfleet, I mean. Or maybe there's a big like exchange program where there's tons of Klingons that work for the Federation, et cetera, et cetera. Like it kind of goes back and forth. Like they're a better ally than they used to be, that kind of stuff. You know, how's Martok been doing, or did Martok die and like somebody else become Chancellor? Like, what's going on? What's going on? What's
Hey,
going
don't
on
ask
with my
much.
peoples?
I hope that like they have a character like Sean Bean or something for if they decide to make a Game of
Oh
Thrones
my
version of the
god,
Kling.
don't kill him in the first
Why
episode,
not?
please.
That's what it's for.
Don't kill Sean Bean. He
Bachla.
deserves.
Bachla Fero.
You know who would make a great Klingon? I always thought since I saw him the first time on Game of Thrones. Uh, uh, what's his face? Jason Samoa. I always want to call him Jason Samoa. Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa.
Oh,
Right.
he would be. Oh, he would be the finest Klingon. Oh my god, I would love it.
That'd be interesting. Yep,
Oh my
that
god.
would change up the dynamic of Klingons a little bit, I think.
You know who I would love to see in Klingon makeup? Pretty much like all my friends. I would love. I think that would be a fun thing to do at like a Citizen Con one day, like 1 year, is like basically get myself set up, like have like some kind of party like the next day or two or something. Like at some point, like after I wouldn't want to do it on day of con because it would be too much. But like have like a day where like having some kind of gathering and then like have my makeup stuff out and be like, guys, if you want me to do Klingon makeup, I'll do Klingon makeup on you. We'll have a
That's a
Klingon
cool
party.
thing. Make it
We'll
like
do the
an
Klingon
attraction.
party.
Yeah, I know. Like they have those at fairs and stuff. You just sit there and you draw them as a
Mm-hmm.
Klingon or something like that. No,
I wouldn't want
you
to do it
do the
the whole
makeup,
time I'm
face
trying to have a
makeup. Sorry.
party, but I would definitely be like, hey, like some of y'all like, and it would depend if like everybody wanted Klingon makeup, then I'd be like, okay, I'll find a way to do this for everybody and fast.
It's
But like if like only like one or two people wanted to do Klingon makeup, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go like full hog on you.
a heck
You
of a
know,
party trick.
like Vertigo has very good eyebrows. Like he has a very good eyebrow shape that I could build on and make it. He would be a mean ass looking Klingon.
That's true. Yeah.
And then like like you, I could make like I could make you. I could make you look pretty fierce, but you I think you'd be I think you'd be a pretty skinny Klingon.
I'd look like a dwarf. Real Gimli. That's how I would look like, which is okay.
Yeah, and then like I mean, if Jared ever wanted Klingon makeup, I'd
That'd be
make him the
cool.
sexiest Klingon. He'd be the sexy one. Yeah, all kinds of stuff. I would love. In fact, that's something I should do in the future. As a matter of fact, I should like look at some of the alien races of Star Citizen and
Yeah.
try to like deconstruct a makeup look.
Yeah, that's cool. Like
Like
the
it would be
Banu.
cool to do. Like the Banu would be hard because you would need to like kind of, you basically have to make yourself look really skinny,
Mm-hmm.
and you'd have to have some prosthetic on because of the way like the shape of the head. But like for something like a Xi'an, like the turtle guys, oh, you could do that fine. Like you could just like throw on like a bald cap and then just like go to town.
Just get a Ninja Turtle mask. I got those.
Yeah, I think that might be a thing. I might have to do like a Teverin would be really fun.
Mm-hmm. That would be
I
cool.
think Teverin, because it would be kind of cool if you could like get like little feathers and like actually like make it part of like the application process.
Yeah. Don't. Yeah. Don't be a furry. Be a feathery. It's different.
Yeah, that was like one of my makeup projects in college. I actually like we had to do an animal of some kind one day because like every day makeup class was we just show up, we'd have our makeup with us, and he'd just say, "Okay, I want you to do a drag queen look today," or "Okay, I want you to do like a 1920s like makeup style." And he had a syllabus, so we knew it was coming, so we'd be able to do research ahead, like, and print out pictures and figure things out. But I did a bird. I actually did like a bird in college, so I think I have a pretty good, like, I did like a cardinal because my school's what do you call that thing? A school mascot. Our school mascot's like the cardinal, and so I did a cardinal that day,
Okay.
and I did like, and so I think Teverin, I'd have a pretty good, like, I have a pretty good idea of where to start.
You should definitely do that. I think that'd be really cool, man. Seriously, I hope you do it.
I think I should. I would need to like go buy feathers and stuff,
Yeah.
just like paste on. I'll use glue gun or something, or not glue gun, but a glue stick. That's how drag queens actually, like, they'll cover up their eyebrows so they can draw new ones on. They'll use like a glue stick to like mat them down and blue makeup over them.
Just glue
Like,
feathers to your face. Do that for subs.
yeah, 2 for subs. Everybody, you heard it here. I'll glue feathers in my face, like, for subs on Twitch.
Yep. Welcome to being on Twitch. Our oh, I can't remember now. Um, I don't know. I guess I don't know. What kind of character do you fantasize to be in, like, Star Citizen? Like, do you fantasize on being an alien or
Yes,
something
I
like
want to
that?
be like the greatest pop star in the verse.
What? You've actually thought about this through already?
Yes,
Oh, okay. What?
I would want to be like the greatest, like, pops, like something of that nature, like some, like, just like really like fancy, like high life, like everybody knows who, like, that person is. That would be fun.
Okay, so did we have this conversation before? So you don't want to take the Klingon thing into Star Citizen, like be like a Vandul or something
Oh, I
like
mean, that's
that?
fine too. I would love to do that. Like, but at the same time, to like, if like Klingons kind of clashes with the game, right? Because it's Star Trek and not Star Citizen. And so to like so as far as like being in the environment of the game and doing something like in the parameters of Star Citizen's environment and like characters and whatnot, I would want to be like just this really like jet setter, like like larger than life, like, woman just running around and doing shit. Like, some days, like, she's out, she's, totally outrageous, whatever, doing like a show or something, like, or social, like a socialite or something like that. And then, like, next thing you know, she's like out there like killing people, like, because she's got to get shit done. I don't know. I just think of like the kind of like this femme fatale kind of thing, like a Bond girl, but not as like oh, at the end you got to have sex with James Bond, like, kind of thing.
I never imagined you to be a pop star. Like, the rare moments that I played with you and the people you play with, like, they're kind of they're badasses, right? So
Yeah.
like they're not exactly
Well,
pop
some of them are,
stars you
yeah,
hang out with.
they're kind of crass and rough around the edges, but yeah, some of them are really good at, like, they're really good at PvP or whatever, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I would love to just be like this really like debutante, like, kind of personality in Star Citizen. Just like kind of like the ladies here in Dallas. Like, you got like these ladies in Dallas, they're like super fancy and they go to Neiman's and like they live in Highland Park, which is like one of the richest neighborhoods in the United States. Like, they're just, and they got big hair, which I try to have big hair. Like, oh God, my hair looks awful now. But yeah, like, just, I don't know, just be like this kind of like really basically like a southern socialite, but like fancier and spacier.
I mean, Twitch is supposed to have big hair, so I guess we're supposed to have, like, Twitch Pachico. I'm referring to is supposed to have big hair. I don't know.
My long, beautiful hair.
Maybe we'll get that in the future. I don't know. Do you think we'll
Yeah.
do you think we'll be able to play as Vandul as aliens?
Oh, that would be so cool. Honestly, if we were able to play as Vandul, I would probably like also like I would probably at that point I would want 2 accounts. I would want one that I can play a Vandul character on and one that I can play a human character on. Because Vandul are very like they're freaking cool. Like, I can't wait. Like, I remember they kept saying like bird of prey, like, oh, this bird of prey thing going on with like the
Mm-hmm.
Van Duel ship, like last week's IC, and I was like, okay, are they talking about actual like bird of prey, like the what the that phrase really means, or are they like saying like we're emulating a Klingon ship? Because if that's what they were saying, then like, yeah, I'm totally gonna, if we can play as a Van Duel, I want to have a Van Duel account for sure.
I mean, I find they take inspiration from other, like, films and stuff like that. So I would think it's safe to say they definitely reference Star Trek in
Oh
some
yeah, yeah.
places.
I mean, you can't do like stuff like Star Citizen without like kind of like tipping your hat to things like Star Trek, Star Wars, et cetera, because a lot of the people that are really into those things are the kinds of people that are going to play games like this.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, I've rarely met Star Citizen people that didn't like one or the other or both. You know.
And there's lots of Expanse people as well, because you're big
Mm-hmm.
into the Expanse. You're still doing the role play with that.
Yeah, we have 2 more weeks of that left. Like this weekend. So this Saturday and July 4th are the last 2 episodes I think of the season. So and it's the second season of The Expanse, and they're gonna do a Star Wars game a few weeks after that, in after season 2 of The Expanse ends, and I am taking that off.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't like Star Wars and I don't want to be part of that, but I just really want like a few months without a role play game on Saturday mornings.
Yeah, that's how
So,
it works. It's quite an investment, right?
yeah, yeah, and thankfully Paul in the Star Wars game, Astropub, he's going to what you call it, he's going to be taking like he's not going to be the DM of the Star Wars game. He's going to be a player, which he's been the DM of of Expanse and Star Trek. So I think he's ready like to be a player for once lately, and I'm happy for him because he needed because I've told him a while back. I'm like, you should be a player in the next one. Like, don't put the DM stuff all on yourself all the time.
Is that what he's gonna do? Is he gonna
Mm-hmm.
actually be a player? Yeah.
Yeah, Jake Acapella or whatever is the DM.
Okay.
Yeah, he's really cool. I met him at PAX. Paul introduced me to some of those guys.
Yeah, I still haven't done any of that stuff before, so I don't really completely understand it. So someday.
Maybe one of these days I'll get like a D&D, like I'll feel like DMing and like I'll see if you want to play like D&D or something basic that you can kind of learn.
Yeah, something easy. Yeah,
Yeah,
start out
something
simple.
like D&D is a good starting point because that's like kind of, D&D was like the first like game that I mean there was other like role play, but there was the first like widely accepted one. So it was really the first of its kind, period. So it's kind of D&D is a good place for anybody to start because there's so many people that play it now than there used to be, and also it's just like good. It's just fun, and it's just a good place to like start that kind of creative flow when you want to try for it.
Well, I'll consider that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody should play D&D. Everybody should play some form of game like that, I think.
Yeah.
Some tabletop. I think it's a very cathartic experience, and it's good to have a routine where you routinely get together with a specific group of friends and do a specific
That's
activity.
true too. You're right. That's
Like
good.
it's just like going and playing cards with the boys on Friday night or whatever, or going golfing with Tim on Sunday.
Is it not the same as every Friday night we get into a hammerhead and go blow stuff up? Is it not the same as that?
I think it can be, but I think it's good to have activities that aren't necessarily a video game that
Yeah.
are something that like require you to like if it's not like a physical activity where you have to go meet up with somebody, like it's something that is actually like this is the one other thing that's really good about D&D because it's so like because of the nature of it, it's theater of the mind. It like really like challenges you to be creative. If that,
Mm-hmm.
whereas like golf doesn't challenge you to be super creative, but you have to like, if you want to go golfing, you gotta know like which way you want to hit the ball. You gotta kind of take things into account. It's not like you can just like roll a mouse and you hit it, right?
That's
Like it's a
true.
bit more work for it. And same thing with D&D. Like you kind of have to work for it because the good DM will know like where to challenge you, but also to like where to help you grow as a role player, especially if you're new. So that's how I feel about that.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Um, we're coming into the 2 hour mark, so I think we should wrap it up there.
I know, like an hour ago, you were worried we were about to end, and I'm, my superpower.
Well, I mean, thank you. I appreciate you doing that. I thought it was. I apologize. I didn't put probably as much preparedness that I usually put, just because we have so many
We know
discussions
each other,
together.
yeah, pretty
Yeah,
good.
I just really appreciate a kind of a relaxing session. So,
Where
I
you didn't feel like you're like, okay, I had to like do all this research on you, and yeah,
totally. Yeah.
we know each other pretty well. So I'm glad that you just had a good time just chit chatting with me and hanging out.
That's what I like. Yeah.
I'm glad that you could be a little more relaxed for this one.
Yeah, exactly. Did you end up canceling your place for CitizenCon as well? Because I know you got a nice place
Oh
in
well,
LA.
I mean, yes,
You
but I
did.
would have had to anyway had it not
Mm,
canceled because I would have been going with, my ex and I were going to
right.
go together to that, and
Right. Yep. Yep. Yep.
you break up with somebody, they tend to not want to go on vacation with you anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we'll see. Maybe hopefully we'll have another one in the future. Like obviously, I hope like for 2021 we'll have one, but I'm not gonna hold my breath either because like things kind of have to change right now, like in a weird way, like whether we like it or not. But like people are gonna keep dying if we don't get our crap together. At least in America,
Y-
geez,
You
in
think we're gonna
Texas.
get our crap together? I don't think we're gonna get our crap
I
together.
think I don't want to gloss over into this stuff too much, but I think that people are incredibly like selfish. I don't think
Totally.
everybody is, but I think like overall people have gotten so used to like a consumer culture of I want this and I'm gonna get it now and I'm gonna get what I want, that like it's like when people are asked to like wear a mask to protect, not just, it's not about even protecting themselves, it's about protecting other people in case they have COVID, like in case like I have COVID, I want to put on a mask so other people don't get it. It's like people just it's a political statement to wear a mask, like it's
Mm-hmm.
insane. It's stupid. Like how incredibly like selfish have we become that like like helping, like trying to protect like our fellow like man or woman, like or whatever, is like it makes you some kind of like you're this, you're that, you libtard, you whatever. Like, I don't want to get into politics, but I'm saying like how is it we've come to the point where people just don't like care about other people and their safety and healthiness, I'm not saying you have to like care about like every person you meet. Like obviously you're gonna meet people and you're like, I don't really know them and I don't really care. But overall, like as a society, we should care about like the few, the needs of the few, or the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. You know. Hmm.
It's a pretty powerful statement, actually.
There's a Star Trek
Yeah,
line for you.
because if the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one, then that means that like everyone should get infected. Everyone should develop the antibody.
Yeah. Herd immunity
Herd
means
immunity.
something,
Yeah.
and we can't achieve that kind of stuff if people just don't care enough about other people's well-being.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, the Vulcans, they lasted quite a bit, didn't they, with that
Oh,
statement?
yeah.
So it must be a good thing.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
they're on to something.
They're onto something until their
Maybe
planet
we
got
should
consumed.
maybe we should listen.
Yep.
Like maybe we should listen to stuff like Star Trek, that people claim they're huge fans of Star Trek, yet in the next breath they'll say something racist or awful or homophobic, and it's like, what what show are you watching
Yeah.
to think that, like, because you hear these people say like oh, I'm sick of SJW Star Trek. It's like, what, it's SJW because like a black woman's a lead on a Star Trek show? Like, what are you, and there's gay characters in it? Like, are you kidding me? Like what what world do you live in that you think it's like, how can you be a bigot of some kind and like Star Trek? I just never understand people like that, because I'm like, are you watching the same series that I've been watching for the past, oh, 30, 20 years?
That's a good point. I don't think I've ever like seen a bigot appreciate Star Trek.
Oh, I
You have.
have, and I'm like very like confused by it every time
Yeah.
it happens. I'm like, how are you like this and what, and they're such a huge Star Trek fan? Because did you not learn like that?
Yeah, you
Did you just
actually
like
you got
did
to
you just like leave them on while you were like having parties or something, and you say that you like Star Trek? Like, what's going on,
that's
man?
it must be what it is. You have to be completely arrogant to Star Trek and still have that kind of personality. I don't know,
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense.
yeah. I just don't get it. Oh well. Well, just wear a mask. Wear a mask when you go outdoors, people. Wash your hands often, and if you have access to wear gloves, wear gloves. Keep other people and yourself safe.
And that's Buster the Destroyer's statement of the month, the week of 2020 of the year.
You know it. Of
Okay.
the year. I mean, it's been that year.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, well, thank you so much, Buster the Destroyer, for chatting with me today and for being on the Late Night Crew show. And thank you for making the Night Crew what it is, because you've
Aw.
contributed way a lot to it. You've sacrificed a lot. I know. I've seen it. So thank you.
Well, thank you for having me, and it's always good to see you and your face and talk to you. Mwah.
Thanks so much. And thanks to everybody else who watched this. This will be on YouTube. And I'll be back here again next Friday at 8 p.m. Pacific. Thanks again, guys.